Mr.
Hey,
Shin.
recording.
All right, so we're good to go now, eh?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you everybody for taking the time to get on our March board meeting. Seems like there's been a lot of things going on here in the last 3 months of the year, a lot of really cool things with the club. I would say I'm really excited to see some of the things Kitty's been doing with the training and getting us organized to get that stuff on the calendar, and hopefully we can talk a little bit about how to be better at marketing that and getting more attendees. But just under the general club business, our next meeting is the 31st, July 31st, and I've got the other dates on there, although we'll have to talk about what we want to do in November. Probably figure that out in the September meeting. So unless anybody has any questions, I'll turn it over to Wayne to talk about the secretary's report. If you have any comments, Wayne.
Wayne left for Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a comment from Al, which I need to read and address.
Yeah, I just had a very, very minor, change. Nothing, that changed, that affected anything for what the club's doing right now.
Okay. I mean, is it something that we can still approve the minutes?
Oh, yeah, no. It was,
Okay.
it was just something a little bit more than a typo, that was all.
Okay. Wayne, do you have, you don't have anything to add there, Mr. Wayne?
No, I don't. If we could approve it, I'll correct the typo and get
All right.
to the.
Well, just make, can I get a motion to approve the March meetings in a second?
I'll move that.
Second.
All right, thank you, Al and Sandy. We'll scoot right along to Tony in the treasurer's report.
Okay, I'm not sure whether I can bring this thing up on the screen or not. I have it here, but I'm not very good at doing that.
Does everybody have a copy of it handy?
Yeah, I have a copy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you have copies, let's just talk to the main points. We've been accumulating money over the last several months, of course, with the tour coming up. And so we're sitting at about $50,000 in round numbers in cash on hand. I've adjusted that number downward and am estimating with the attendance that we've registered at this point that we have a liability of around $15,000 towards the tour. Now, this assumes we get good sharp cutoffs on the ordering of food and the ordering of apparel. If we over order those, we'll be above that number. And of course, it's going to depend a lot on what the closing numbers are. And hopefully they will pick up. The last 2.5 months have not been very good. And we're sitting, I guess, somewhere in the low 300s right now. And
What, for tour, you mean for Tour de Blueberry registration?
yeah.
That's a lot of month out. That's this is a last minute city, in case you hadn't figured that out. Everybody in Wilmington signs up literally at the 11th hour. Drives you crazy.
Well, I've got the numbers from last year, and indeed, we did get, I think, something like 150 registrations last year at the last minute, which would put us up closer to 500, perhaps.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's anybody's guess where we're going to end up at this point in time. So anyway, taking out the adjusted balance, we've got about 35,000 on hand. We started the year at about 30, so we're about $5,000 ahead. Looking at a couple of the key numbers, membership dues are about $3,000. We've spent about $6,000 in club expenses. We are running right on budget in that area. We're bringing in about half in dues what we spend. The tour has brought in 21.5 as of last Friday, and another almost $2,000 in donations, so 23,500 or thereabouts in that number. So total yearly income is about $26,000. Okay, and as I mentioned, we've with the accrual, we've expenses I've got down at about 21,000, or about a $5,000 profit year to date. And this number will change a lot over the next 20 days. Yes, Eileen.
Tony, I have a quick question. In years past, we asked some organizations to be sponsors. I don't know if that's something you all are looking to do, because we've been able to get Pender Memorial Hospital now Novant Pender to be a sponsor in the past. Is that something you all are looking at, or not so much?
I can't address that, Eileen. Beth, I know, had a couple of things in her. I know she got one significant donation from a Mr. Johnson, who I knew him at one point because he used to handle the masonboro.org, but
yeah, he's big in Burgaw.
yeah, he's put a lot of money
okay.
in that area, but I don't know if she's picked up any other donations. I mean, it is broken out separately, and like I say, I don't have an exact number on donations at this point. Last good number I had was about 17,000 or $1,750 on donations, and that was as of the end of April. So I don't have the May numbers at this point. I'm estimating about 1,900. I do have good numbers on the bank deposits. Because
I'll ask Beth if she wants me to get a sponsor. I can usually get Pender Hospital. Okay, I'll ask Beth.
Be helpful. I think the thing that is at question in my mind is how good is the last minute surge going to be? Last year we had good membership participation through April and May, which we have not had as of the first half of May. But as you mentioned, it can reasonably come on here in the next month. I would just wonder whether the price point is scaring people away.
I would add that that's not the case. I'm with Eileen. People sign up for things last minute, wanting to see what the weather's going to be like. I don't think the price is the issue at all.
Okay, well,
The weather's the driver.
Yeah,
let's hope that happens. We had tremendous signups in February with the discount that was offered. We gathered up almost a couple hundred people, and then since that point in time, we've gathered about another 100.
Okay, I'll talk to Beth too about running a promotion on Facebook to remind people to sign up.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea.
Okay, I can do that. I can talk to Beth if she doesn't make the meeting.
well,
No worries,
and
I'll get with her.
Beth told me that she is going to have a board meeting, or a committee meeting, I should say.
Okay.
And she'll put that out to everybody, that if she's not able to make it on, but she is going to have a committee meeting just for anybody that wants to bring anything up to date. And she asked me to pass that along.
Great.
Anyway, kind of the bottom line on the numbers is we remain in very good financial shape. The amount that we have to give to the donations is going to depend on how the final rollout ends. Let's hope it's good.
Yeah, hey, Kitty, if she doesn't get on too, and I'm assuming she'll talk about this on her call, but I've had a number of people ask how to volunteer, and I think it talks about it on the calendar invite. But there's a number of people that are interested in volunteering for different things.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
okay. Does anybody have any questions for Tony?
Nope. Good report.
Yeah. I'll touch on the old business, and most of this came off of the meeting minutes from the last time, so I'll touch on it real quick. Probably The big deal is this CFC 2023 CFC jersey order. So Tyler and Diane had a whole bunch of jerseys yesterday at the social, and people could try them on. And I think people are ordering the new fangled jersey we have. Tyler said he's going to try to wrap up the order within the next 2 weeks. I think he's going to reach out to you, Eileen, maybe to publish one more Facebook notice, and then try to get it done. And he thinks that the jerseys would actually come in June.
Mhm.
So that's Tyler doesn't let grass grow under his feet. He's going 100 miles an hour, which is great.
Mark, Tyler said he was up to 50 orders yesterday
Yeah,
on the jersey,
yeah,
which is good.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's really good. The other thing too is at the last meeting, Bill Culpepper had the idea of purchasing our own little speaker system, and Bill did a ton of work on that, and we used it yesterday for the first time. And Bill advised that that what we saved in renting one paid for half of the speaker. So thank you, Bill. It's a great idea, and it worked
Mhm.
really good.
Yeah, it was a good system.
Yep, sounded great.
And I think Bill, I think both you and Wayne said something about this yesterday, but I noticed that we talked about promoting the people that we support, bike shops, two-wheeler, on our webpage, and you're going to get I think you're working on a list with Wayne on who those people would be, or those organizations. I think still working on that.
Yeah, well, to be quite frank and honest, that slipped away from this thing on my head up here. And Wayne reminded me the other day, so I will complete that next week. I've already got the list, and I've highlighted the list was really a lot, way more than I want to try to put in one page of the website. So I'm going to pare it down to 6 or 7 or 8, and that'll be done pretty quickly once I get started on it. I forgot that, folks.
Okay.
Bill, if Al or I can help you with that, let us know.
I've got the list. It's just a matter of typing it up and putting it in the web page somehow. Put it, find a place in the menu system and all that to put it and everything. So I've taken a cursory look at what I'm going to do, and I got it figured out. Just got to do it.
Bill, I'm a little bit curious if we put their logo on the website, is it the quid pro quo that they're going to make a donation, or is it just to recognize them?
No, these are organizations that we have sponsored or given donations to at this point. So
it's not the bike shops, it's more nonprofits.
Oh yeah, it's the Terry Benji and Burgo and the Hams people, the Burgo Ham organization. And I can send a list out if you want to see it. Wayne sent it to me. Actually, I think Tony put it together from the budgets.
Yeah, I have it. I try to keep it maintained, and I have not sent out the very latest. I did some work about 3 months ago, and I had some dead time and went back through the checkbook all the way back to see what had shown up as donations. And the list we had was pretty accurate. There are a couple of omissions which I added to the list, but I know that Alan, Eileen, and Wayne, I've sent it to out several times. So you probably have the same list.
Yeah, I do. It goes all the way back, like you say. And so what I did is the ones that we consistently, donate to, if we had donated just once or twice, the list was going to be really big. So I hope you agree. I hope you let me pick out which ones I want to pick out. If not, I'll send you the spreadsheet and highlight the ones that I think we ought to go with if everybody wants to see it. So.
Yeah, I think just let like Eileen and I take a look at it. I mean, like I know that there are things like Jeff Ing's wife, way back when we donated, $350 or something like that. That doesn't have to go on there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll send it to you and Eileen before I complete it then. Okay.
Thanks.
I do have a question I think that Al started to touch on is, should we be promoting the bike shops and on our webpage?
They're there. The bike
uh,
shops are there.
The only thing that I chatted with Wayne about this, and I just didn't know which way you all wanted to go. I had a conversation with Sean Spencer about 9 months ago where he was annoyed at something, and he said he wasn't going to give our members discounts anymore. So I didn't know if you want to say who gives discounts, you can't include bike cycles, but you can include city bikes and two-wheeler dealer. I called Shore Break Bikes multiple times and never got the owner to call me back. So I didn't know if we wanted to then publicly say anything because Sean was annoyed at me one day. And that's just being honest. I published something that he thought I shouldn't have published on Facebook, and then he said he wasn't going to give a donation anymore or discounts anymore. But anyway, officially, if we're still saying that Bike Cycles gives a discount to our membership, the last thing Sean said to me is that he does not.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I tell you what, I just pulled that up and I will delete it at this very minute.
Well, just a second here. Just wait a second before we get too crazy. Because
And
Sean did donate gift cards to our event yesterday. And, for me, I mean, I don't know, when we're out riding, people ask us all the time where to go to a bike shop and this and that and the next thing. And, if we're really promoting cycling, I personally don't have a problem showing their logo on our website. But to Eileen's point, I don't think we should say anything about a discount. I actually went into two-wheeler dealer and bought something and asked them about it, and it wasn't an easy thing to get the discount. So I don't know. I just think that they actually support us. Okay, if you're a cyclist, all of the bike shops do,
Right.
by promoting us. I mean, aiming our direction and broadcasting rides that we have coming up. And I've seen them put stuff on Facebook that promotes us. And for me, if somebody's looking for a bike shop, why not? A great place to look is on our website. And even though that thing with Sean was weird, I don't know what happened because he gave me an earful too, but he does support us. Two-wheeler dealer did. And
Yep. City Bikes and Shore Break. There's the 4 bikes in New Hanover County. If you're going to list bike shops, I think we need to list all 4.
Yeah.
I do too.
And then you don't have to say anything about discounts, because the other thing is that Shore Break Bikes wanted to give discounts on this, and Two-Wheeler Dealer gives discounts on that, and Sean doesn't. And so maybe just say these are the 4 bikes in our region, bike stores in our region. Go forth and pick a bike shop.
Yeah.
Great.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I mean, years past, I used to provide membership lists to
And that's a
Sean
nightmare.
guys. They said, how do we know that they're a club member that gets a discount? You guys don't hand out, membership cards. And so I used to give them membership lists and so on like that. This is, 10 years ago. So I understand why, they're not interested in doing discounts and so on like that. So I think, what Mark is saying and Eileen is saying is we got these bike shops here in town. They're all great bike shops. We're very lucky to have them. Just put them on the website and don't even talk about discounts.
I agree.
Okay, I just did it.
Thank you.
The statement that talks about discounts has been erased. The logos are still there, but everything else.
Did you add Shore
I will
Break?
do that. I have to go out to the web and get their.
Yeah, they're
logo
down
and
in
stuff.
Carolina Beach.
Yeah,
And
I
they
know.
No, they're in River Lights.
They're in River Lights.
Well, they're in both again. They closed Carolina Beach for a while, opened River Lights, and then reopened Carolina Beach.
Oh,
But
okay.
again, Bill, their website will give their 2 addresses.
Yeah, I'll just make a link.
Yep, perfect.
All right. Well, great. Good discussion. Kitty, I picked up a couple things that they may or may not apply to you, but we were talking, Gloria brought up something about donating bikes, and you mentioned bikes for every child. And somebody named Dusty. Is that, you're gonna look into that? Is that something we want to continue to look into, or?
Well, I mean, he takes donations of bikes and refurbishes them and then makes them available on a sliding scale to kids that don't have bikes. And, he got some bikes. We donated some bikes from the trailer when we all, Eileen, Tammy and I cleaned out the trailer. There were some bikes that just really weren't usable for bike rodeos. So we donated those to Dusty.
Okay,
And so I think we just talked about it in terms of, the club in some way supporting his endeavors, because he got a grant from the hospital money. And, he's always looking for bikes, and he has people come in and kids come in and works with them as far as teaching them how to service and take care of bikes also. So I think he's performing a valuable service in the community for low income people that can't afford to go into a bike shop and buy a bike.
He got a
Okay.
grant from us too, Kitty.
Yes, that's right, he did. And Dusty was certified as an LCI, paid for by this club. And I mean, I know since I've been coordinating bike rodeos, he did help that first year at the first bike rodeo, which was at the Wilmington Junior Fire Academy. He did come to the one that they held that year. But otherwise, he's got a little baby and he's working his bike for every child full time, basically. So I know that he hasn't recertified as an LCI and doesn't feel like he has the time to do it. But he certainly is always looking for people that are willing to donate bikes or even come down and volunteer their time to work on bikes that he's taken in as donation, so he can make them available in the community.
Okay. Is there any action that the club needs to take with this? Other than supporting Dusty?
I don't think so. Eileen, what do you think?
So he knows if he needs a grant, where to reach out. But like you said, he just got a nice grant from the new hospital endowment. He hasn't asked us for money in 5 years, probably. So, I mean, just keeping him in mind if you ever want to, if anybody's getting rid of a bike, that's a good spot, or Special Pedals.
Right.
Okay.
Special Pedals does very similar work.
Yes.
Okay. And then Kitty, I think you asked the club at the last meeting about if people wanted to get involved, or CFC members wanted to get involved in the Terry Benji Education Committee. Have you had any action or support from that, or any feedback?
No.
No? What do we need to do there?
Well, I think that lends itself to the discussion that that we wanted to have, and if you've got it listed under, I think, committee reports. So I don't know if you want to talk now, or we can go into it or wait. But how to increase involvement in all things education from the Cape Fear cyclists. So that, I mean,
Okay.
that's basically the item on the table. And as for everybody else, conversation between Mark and Eileen and myself prior to the meeting was to perhaps brainstorm on how to make that happen. And, again, we can talk about it now, we can talk about it under committee reports, whatever you want to do, Mark.
Yeah, why don't we get to the committee report now, because I think we'll get there pretty quick.
Okay.
Because it's a great topic. And I added one. I know it's not on your agenda, and it's a Mark Johnny pet peeve. And I think I talked about it one time a couple years ago, but that bike rack at the Fort Fisher Ferry drives me nuts because it has this Cape Fear Cyclist dilapidated logo on the side of it, and it looks like it's been run over by a car. So I put my name by it. I'm gonna look into see where you get a bike rack and what unless somebody knows and see what they cost but the thing is dangerous.
So that's super easy, Mark. The Terry Benji Foundation can call Jim Mincher. He'll sell one to us at his cost. We then need somebody with a truck and strong backs to drive it down there. We can order 2 placards, one that says Benji Foundation, one that says Cape Fear Cyclists, and what do they cost out? $325 about these days?
It's been a while, since the last time we bought.
May-
Like everything else, it's probably gone up 50%.
So maybe 400, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want a new
Yeah,
bike rack for Fort Fisher,
The one at Fort Fisher was, I think, maybe the second one that we.
it's been a long time ago.
It's been a long, long time ago. The sign on it has been down there, and it probably just all needs to be replaced. I remember at one time somebody talked to him, I thought it was maybe you, Mark, about they said if we'd bring one down, they'd install it.
Yeah, I think we'll check with them and just double check. But I mean, I guess the question is does the club, I think that the club either we need to go collect it and get rid of it because it's not safe. Or if we
Or
want
ask NCDOT to get rid of it and we'll
Yeah.
supply a new one.
Yeah.
So, Mark, if you send an email to me for the Terry Benji Foundation, when we
Yeah.
meet in June,
Yeah.
I can make an official ask of the Benji Foundation to possibly fund a new bike rack at Fort Fisher.
Oh, great.
And perhaps Al, as the advocacy chair, can see how much of the heavy lifting NCDOT wants to do, because they own that ferry landing, correct?
Yeah.
And they have
Yeah.
maintenance people. When we get them for the schools, we make sure the schools understand we need your maintenance people to install them. We're just a bunch of bicyclists. We'll bring it or get it or do whatever. Al, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know that Jim will help us get.
We'll get as good a price as we
The
can
the
get.
big thing about the bike racks is not the cost, it's the shipping cost. So it's simply a matter of Jim combining it with another order so that, that absorbs the shipping cost. It won't be more than $500. And the other thing is to get the same thing that he has out in front of the shop. If somebody can contact the ferry terminal and ask them, are they willing to install it? Or maybe we just go to actually, why don't we go to Division 3 and ask them?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'll take care of that. I'll go to Division 3, tell them that we'd like to go ahead and replace that one. As far as the signs go, those were made by Southern Signs. I think they still do that. They
Yeah,
do a pretty nice job.
they
And
have
we
both our
put-
logos.
We could put a Cape Fear Cyclist on one end and Benji Foundation on the other, whatever. But yeah, okay, let Eileen and I take that and run with it.
I
I'll
just needed
send
an
you
email from you
emails.
to make it official that we've gotten an official request from this board to our board. We vote on it and bam, bam, bam. This is easy.
Yeah.
Easier than most things.
Okay.
I think
Well, that
probably-
sounds great.
I
I'll
think
send an
probably
email
big-
to both of you and we'll go
Perfect.
from there.
Probably the
Okay.
biggest problem will be getting rid of the old one.
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah. it's got
NCDOT knows
concrete
how to
on it.
get rid of big, heavy things.
Yeah.
What they
Yeah.
do.
We have a metal recycling place here in Leland, and we took a lot of the stuff from the high school. So I mean, if DOT can't, I'll pick it up in my truck and I'll just drop it off at this right here. It's like 2 miles from my house, but that's what we did with a bunch of
Right.
stuff from the high school when we cleaned up. So I can take it to the metal recycling place.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, I'll let Eileen and I make, the first contact with Division 3 and find out who we need to talk to. And about replacing it, and let us just work it for a while, but we'll get that thing out of there and get a good one in there.
Cool. All right. Does anybody have anything else on old business they want to raise? Like I said, I'm really grateful for Wayne for sending out the meeting minutes because I kind of plucked these off of his list there. Okay. Well, I'll just shuffle over to new business real quick, and I know Sandy and I've had some discussions here over the last couple of weeks that he's wanted to know if the club would be supportive of starting a tricycle ride. And I pointed out to him, whoever came up with the name of our club didn't specify how many wheels you need to have on a cycle. So I thought, yeah, it's a great idea, because I think there's more and more people that do tricycle rides. So I wanted to, or have tricycles. So I just wanted to bring it up and see if anybody had any concerns about that or not. And if not, we'll figure out how to get it going. And I guess Sandy, do you want to say anything about it?
Well, thanks. There are two thoughts. One is tricycles joining the regular rides, and I'm hoping at some point I'm able to do that. But I think there is a market and an opportunity to have tricycle only rides, or tricycle prominent rides. I see in my neighborhood a lot of people in Del Webb or here in River Lights that have trikes, and I occasionally see one on the road. So I thought we could give it a try. Put it on the website, put it on Facebook. Hey, we're going to start trike rides under the auspices of Paid for Cyclists, blah blah blah, and come join us.
I have a comment on it. I think we should take a minute just to look at the insurance policies to make sure there's no exclusions. It's the same kind of things you get into with e-bikes. Just make sure there's no areas of exclusion and they are covered. And another thought that came to mind the other day, we got several ad hoc rides. I wonder if we're considering those ad hoc rides as being club rides. If we, and what it takes to make them to be considered club rides, so they would be incorporated under our insurance policies.
So yeah, so I'll touch on both of those real quick. So I've read the insurance policy, and I don't know if I could figure out whether there's anything weird about a tricycle or not. So is there somebody that's an expert that would be able to tell us?
What did you read, Mark? Just the certification, or did you read the whole Wheelman policy?
I don't know. I
You
don't
probably
think-
read the certification. That's nice and
Probably.
short, and but what we're actually under is the American Cyclists, the Wheelman policy, which is, it's kind of like a big HOA policy that we're sitting under, and it's so long. I tried reading it one day and I got bored very quickly, and to see what was incorporated and what wasn't. Our certificate doesn't really say anything about that at all.
I read a lot of it when I was doing the e-bike policy research. I didn't see any reference at all to 3 versus 2 wheels. The only
Right.
exceptions I saw was that one, the throttle bikes of e-bike being excluded. That was the only exclusion I could find.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be for tricycles also, because I have a class 1 trike.
Right. So if you have an e-trike or an e-bike, I believe the throttle classification will still be excluded, but the pedal assist would be covered by insurance,
That would make sense.
because the throttles just go too fast.
I heard some discussion from some of the people that had the e-bikes, and actually one of the gentlemen that sells e-bikes here in town, and he didn't think there was an exclusion, but I thought there was within the policy. But I had understood that if you were not using the throttle and you had a class 2, you're still okay. So.
When we did the policies, what was it, Phil, 2 years ago? And the policies on the website, we excluded the throttle ones from participating in a sanctioned CFC ride, because saying I'm not going to use my throttle, like they're too fast. They're too fast. So they are specifically excluded according to the policy that's on our webpage. And that's not our opinion. I took the wording exactly from our insurance policy into our club policy, copy and paste.
again, Eileen, I don't remember off the top of my head whether the full policy is on the website or it's just some of the certifications, because what we get normally is a certification out of American Specialty. And
I
that
guess I
says
didn't-
that we're covered, but the people that hold the actual policy is American Cyclists.
Specialties,
And
yeah,
that's a big policy.
I know.
Okay.
I was raised by an underwriter.
All right, maybe you read it all.
I read a lot. It was boring. It was painful. It was important to me. And if you go to the website and read the excerpts that are pertinent to e-bikes, I didn't want to bore the membership
Yeah, I
with our
have read
entire
those.
policy, but we made it a one-pager so that people might actually read it.
Right.
But anyway, I don't remember seeing anything about trikes. That doesn't mean they're not there, but I unfortunately read a lot and I did not see any reference to trikes.
Okay. Well, do we want to look any further on that, or we just want to move forward with the trikes? And my question still stands on the ad hoc.
I'll get to that. I'll tell you what's going on with that in a second, but yeah, I don't know the answer. I mean, should we just call and double check with somebody, or how should we? I mean, I'm not sure why it would make a difference whether it's 2 or 3, but is it something we want to double check with the insurance company just to make sure?
Well, we can check with American Specialty and get their interpretation of what it is, but they are strictly acting as an agent for the American Cyclists, who we are a member of, and they insure the whole community within the United States, as I understand it.
Do you have a connection there?
Not at at American Specialty, I have a connection, but not at, I have the name somewhere in my files of American Cyclists or Bicycle Association, whatever the name is.
I mean, is that something you have time to check with them on, or do we need to get somebody to make a phone call?
I'll send American Specialty an email and ask them, and we have something in writing.
All right.
Okay. All right.
So then I think, Sandy, once we get an answer to that, the next step would just be to figure out what we want to put in the calendar and when. And I kind of gather that you'd be willing to lead the ride.
I would, absolutely.
So
Now-
we probably want to come up with a route. Of course, Tyler and I can help with that for sure.
Well, Kevin's route right around here, I think, is the starting point.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right. Well, as soon as I hear something from Tony, we'll get with you and we'll get something set up and get it on the calendar. And I'll probably ask Eileen maybe to put something out there because it's kind of unique.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sandy, send me the details as soon as you're ready to roll and I'll cross promote it with you.
I will do that. Now let me take a minute here. I've got another doctor's appointment tomorrow with my surgeon. So there is the possibility that I may not be able to lead a ride for a while, but but I'll still do everything else.
When you're ready.
We'll get ready.
When we get ready, include me in the promotion list so I can send an email out from the website.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, the ad hoc ride. So we had a long discussions about this, and if my understanding is if you're a club member, you're covered by insurance, and whether you sign the document or not. So because of the way Bear does it, he has a hard time packing paperwork around with him. So we have tried this, and I think that it's working. If we want a record of who's riding with Bear, if you look on Slack, he asks everybody that's going to join his ride to acknowledge it on Slack. And I know they're really good about acknowledging it, but he is also trying to get them to acknowledge when they're done. And you can see that there's not as many people that'll acknowledge that they're done. But if you go on a Slack, in theory, we have a record of everybody that's riding with Bear on his ad hoc rides, and I believe that covers this. Now, could there be somebody that shows up that doesn't have Slack and doesn't sign up like that? Sure, but I'm watching who rides with them. They're regular club members, and so I think we're getting a record, Tony.
How about the first time riders, Mark, that get involved in the Monday ride? I understand there's a lot of first time riders there just, looking for some exposure to riding, which is good. And it's good that we have that. Is we considering that an official ride or not?
I'm not sure what the Monday ride is.
That's the Kevin Tanner's ride.
Kevin does it out of River Lights.
He calls
Oh,
it
well,
the
so
Monday.
Kevin will have a sheet. He'll have a sign up
Mm.
sheet.
Yeah,
He'll
I've
sign
been on that
people up.
ride. I've been on that ride several times, and there is a sign up sheet, and Kevin keeps it, and he makes announcements at the beginning of the ride about the ride and where it's going, and the club and insurance. It's run exactly like a club ride.
Is it something that should be on the website or
It
not?
is.
It's a
It is.
website.
It's on the calendar.
Okay, it's on the calendar. So
Mhm.
maybe if we put all these rides on the calendar, we should consider them covered.
They are, yeah.
I don't know the insurance company will, but
Well, I
If it's
think
on,
there's,
if it's
I
on
mean,
the calendar, it's covered.
yeah.
Always
Right,
has
put them
been.
all on the calendar.
Yeah, so they are, but I think there's some value to recording who's there. I know Phil
Yeah.
and I take pictures of the Saturday ride stuff in case we lose somebody. God help us.
Many years ago, probably, like, you guys are probably so tired of hearing me now say, well, 15 years ago, but we had a board member to do this research. I think it was Sam Spicer, Al, anyway, he did a lot of research on do we or do we not need sign-in sheets? And like Mark just said, the sign-in sheets are not required by the insurance company. We as a club like them so that we got back and we could say, hey, wait a second, we started with 15, we only have 12. Does anybody know the 3 that are missing? So over the years, the sign-in sheet was more for the ride leaders' sanity, right, Phil? To say who's not here. But if you read the insurance again, if it's a club ride posted on as a Cape Fear Cyclist ride calendar. So like the bike ride across Georgia, we just post for information. That doesn't mean we're responsible for it. But like the Monday meetup ride that Kevin sends, and then he sends an official email to all members, and then I post it on Facebook copying his information, that's a club ride. The Tuesday, the Thursday, the Wednesday, the Saturday, those are all club rides with or without sign-in sheets.
Well, the sign-up sheet is also an indemnification agreement.
Yeah, well, that's
It's an extra set of
yeah,
belt and suspenders for the club.
but it's not required by insurance.
Yeah, no, I remember the whole discussion, and
Yeah.
basically, they said, yeah, right, okay, you got a sign in thing, but when you actually go to a lawsuit and so on like that, it won't do you any good. But
Right.
a sign-in sheet does so many other good things for you. Gotta keep doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Bears is, I mean, I think when, Phil and I are out in the boondocks, when people get scattered out all over, Pender County or whatever, I mean, I don't know that I would not want to have a sheet that has everybody's name on it, but
Mhm.
Bears ad hoc rides, they don't get separated. They're all very close, and Bear keeps track of everybody really carefully. And then, he keeps a record of who's with him on Slack. So I think the purpose is accomplished. Are there some gray areas with it? Probably. But I think he's accomplishing the intent. I would be a little concerned if Bear was doing ad hoc rides out in, the mountains somewhere and couldn't keep track of everybody with that. But I think for his ad hocs are all in town, close by, packed together. It looks like for the most part, it's the same riders all the time.
I mean, from what I've heard, from what Bill said, You know, it looks like, sounds like, and smells like a regular club ride. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Bears rides are published through the Slack channel. And
Yeah.
so the
Mhm.
only the members have the access to the Slack channel.
Mhm,
So there's no non-members on the Slack channel. So that's where it's advertised.
mhm. Okay, and that kind of leads to real quick, you know, I think, I'm really, Kitty, I just saw your interview on TV for the Ride of Silence. I thought you did a wonderful job, and I'm sorry there's so much confusion about what was going on with that ride. I just didn't, you know, when the question was about insurance and stuff for the ride, it threw me for a loop because I didn't even know where the route was, and I just had a lot of safety concerns. But it sounds like it got sorted and had a pretty good turnout, even though I heard it was raining. But I think I just wanted to ask, Eileen, you mentioned this was in the
Mhm.
history was a club ride, and I don't really have
Mhm.
an issue of making it a club ride. I just was, everything was happening so quick. I wasn't here, and I was trying to figure out what is there liability for the company or the organization if we tried to at the last minute make it a club ride. So I just wanted to bring it up. Do we want to make it a club ride and get more communication in the future for it, for next year, that sort of thing?
Well, let me interject just for a moment. Sorry, Eileen.
No, you're fine.
Because it was organized by Tammy and myself as LCIs, liability was covered by the League of American Bicyclists. So if we make it a club ride, it could be covered by us, but it was also covered that way. So because of it being a national event, that there's coverage, insurance coverage from that standpoint also. But yeah, I mean, as never being involved with something like that before from my perspective, you know, not knowing all those kinds of things that had to happen, and Tammy had done it in the past. So I think she just thought that, you know, the club had basically been involved with it in the past, so we just pick up post-COVID. So it got done, and I'll just report to everybody, we did have 23 people participate. And it started raining right exactly when we took off. So we did shorten the route. We had 5 Wilmington police officers, and they thought for safety's sake that we should cut it short and not cross college. And they're very supportive for next year. And to stop traffic, we know that we have to request that 60 days in advance. So we now know that. And you know, so getting back on the calendar, I learned as a new, you know, first timer, and Tammy, you know, has all this institutional knowledge. So tapping into that and making sure that we're, you know, on board with all of that. But yeah, we had the route, and we had sent the route to the police department. So that's part of the discussion we're going to have, you know, if it would make a difference to have the route published on the calendar or someplace for the club. I don't know that that would increase participation, because the Flaming Amy's ride is on Wednesday. So it would compete with that unless we officially canceled that ride for that. And next year it'll probably be on a Thursday because it's the same date, May 17th every year.
Yeah.
We
So-
had about half the people on the Flamin' Amy's ride stay on the Flamin' Amy's ride, and about half went cut it short at a lap and a half and rode over there.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thanks. But you know, for getting it out there, trying to publicize it. I mean, the youngest participant was 12, and all the way up through some of us rather senior people participating. But it was great. And, you know, the fact that we had 5 police officers there, increased visibility, certainly safety factor, but it was a good start to get back on that endeavor and on the calendar post-COVID, first time and my first time. So it was good. It was good.
It was wet.
It was wet. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was very
Uh,
wet.
Back in January, when we were renewing our insurance, we had a discussion about the education and the instructor insurance, and we opted to take the option on the insurance, and we pay, an extra $200-300 this year. We've never done it before, to my knowledge, to have the club insurance include the instruction. So there may also be, just through the fact that you're LCIs, there might be something from American Bicyclists but our insurance comes through American Bicyclists. So.
Well, I think for those of you that have more experience with this than me, I think that it needs to be on the calendar just because of what it is, and we'll get it on the calendar every year. The question is does the club sponsor it? Is it a club ride or not? Because I think, if it is the club ride, then I think for us, it is important to know what the route is and how it's set up, and we know where people are going. And I also think it's important that we know that there's a club member that's qualified to lead the ride, which Tammy or Kitty, you are. But at the time, I had no idea who was leading it. And then Tammy's name popped up. And of course, I've had the one-on-one training with both you and her. But then Tyler was trying to get it on the calendar, and it turns out Tammy's not a member, so we can't get her name on the calendar. So there's just a lot of little weird things that happen. So I guess if the question is if we want to make it a Cape Fear sponsored ride or club ride, then we probably just need a little bit more information and make sure we have things covered.
Well, the route next year will likely be the same route that was this year, just hopefully not cut short because of weather.
Okay.
So we've got it all done basically.
Yeah.
This year worked through all the kinks, so next year should be easy. And I think it should be a club sponsored ride. It's a nationwide, actually it happens outside the United States also, but it's a nationwide event. And I think it behooves us to participate.
I thought when we discussed it last time, we said, yes, that's good to be included as a sponsor, but if there is other local sponsors, for example, the fire department, the city of Wilmington, whomever, that we hide under their umbrella.
I don't understand that. I don't
There are
know.
no other
They'll be the
sponsors. There's no
primary
other sponsors. There are no other sponsors.
No,
There are no other sponsors in this case. Okay.
And sponsorship is just basically, it's a club ride. It's always been a club ride.
All right.
And and like Kitty just said, now that we kind of had the bumpy road this year, we know what bumps to avoid next year.
But some of the educational events, we have the fire department and others get involved in them, do we not?
yeah, but whoever
Yeah.
is scheduling the event, they're responsible for liability coverage, not us.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the conclusion is, unless somebody says otherwise, that we do want to make this a club ride in the future. And I think then, Kitty, the task will be maybe for you and me and Tyler to figure out what it looks like on our calendar and try to get more information. And, so when somebody clicks on it, they know exactly what's going on. Because you mentioned you had a 12-year-old to, somebody my age, and that always has, kind of some interesting safety things you got to think about. But we got a year to figure it out, and I know we'll do better than we did this year. So at least what gets on the calendar. So, all right. Anybody have any other new business? And we'll go into the reports. All right. With Beth's not on, we'll go over to Eileen and Al. I think you guys I got a report from Al, and maybe you guys can give us an update on public relations, Terry, Benji, and advocacy, and adopt a highway all in one fell swoop, if that's all right.
Cool. I uploaded my report to the shared Google Drive, but just real quickly, one thing that's happened for publicity that's been really wonderful, the WMPO has been hiring some new staff members, and there's a woman named Carolyn Kajia, and she's an assistant transportation planner, but she's also over communications. And what a breath of fresh air. She reaches out to us. She posts our stuff. I post her stuff. We talk all the time. So I think you're going to see better synergy between us and the WMPO and cross promotion. So that's been awesome. I took a look at Facebook just for the heck of it. And if anybody really loves numbers, feel free to go to what I uploaded. But we're at just about 1,600 followers. And I looked at the age distribution, male, female, et cetera. And what I found interesting is that the largest Facebook follower group that we have is the age 45 to 54 males, which goes completely against what everybody will tell you about social media. It's only the grandmas. So there's some information in my report about age distribution if you want to completely nerd out on percents and numbers. But Facebook is still doing well for our club, I think. I posted the really great WECT story that Kitty did. I believe we also got coverage from AY and the Star News, but I'm not a subscriber to the Star News, and they keep burying more and more stuff behind their subscriber wall. So if anybody finds the story, if it's public access, I'll post it. But it was a really good story, and the WECT story got a lot of traction last week. As far as the Benji Foundation is concerned, the one thing I really wanted to tell you all is that I asked for and received permission to give a 10-minute presentation to the New Hanover County Commissioners about what the Terry Benji Foundation does, how we coexist with Cape Fear Cyclists, and how we represent the cycling community in terms of safety, education, advocacy, safe riding, etc. And I got to tell you the truth, it went so much better than I ever thought. I got good questions. Three of the commissioners wanted to know more. And Commissioner Jonathan Barfield said that he absolutely wanted the same presentation to be given to the entire WMPO board, which is made up of high-ranking representatives from all three counties that the WMPO covers. So I'll be doing that on July 26th. And the day after the meeting, I got outreach from the Director of Parks and Rec asking us to help them. There's a new park being built in Castle Hayne, and there's going to be a pump track in that park. And they want us to help with the safety design for the pump track. So they're hiring a contractor to build the pump track, and they want to talk to us about safety and education within the park. So that was literally one day after I made the presentation. She was in the room and she reached out. So it was just really good to get the word out of what we do and what you all do, and have people understand that we're here as a resource. And I did send a summary. Al is going to go into it a little bit more, but when he and I met with NCDOT Division 3, everybody on this board got my summary of that meeting, probably in early April. So if you want to know the details, you've got it in an email. And Al, I will hand it back to you, unless there's any questions for me.
That's really cool about you making those presentations. That's exciting.
I honestly, when I just thought the commissioners were going to like glaze over and be like, thank you very much. And they wanted to know, and like Commissioner Zappel asked me about my interaction with the Parks Department. Thank God I know Tara well, and we work together well, and I was able to say, Tara and I talk, and she's great at her job, and she knows to reach out to me. Our goal, the Benji Foundation's goal, is to find a way to get New Hanover County to build a permanent traffic garden for training purposes in a park. The Bike Walk North Carolina actually has a template that they sell. Right now, Tara doesn't have the square footage available, but she knows it's something that's a joint desire of them and us. So it went well. Thanks.
I'll add to that. In all the years I've been associated with this, that was probably the highest visibility I think that Cape Fear Cyclists and the Benji Foundation have ever. Like Eileen, I was knocked out by the reaction of the commissioners. That was terrific, and we just need to build on that, and that's already happening. I already sent in my report. The first part of it was about the meeting with Chad Kimes. And Eileen has submitted the full report. I submitted a summary, so I'm not gonna go back through that. The Adopt the Highway, hey, that's the 35-year celebration and the posting of the 35-year stars on both ends of our 2 miles. So I thought it went just great. It was so neat having, NCDOT there and presenting that and participating. That was really great. And as far as the history goes, I'm continuing to work on trying to go back through, the 10 years that we didn't have any reports. I still haven't figured out quite how to do that. But one of the things I did come across today is that this month, May, is the 51st year that Cape Fear Cyclists has been a bike club here in Wilmington. And I bet there's very, very few bicycle clubs in the entire United States that say they've been running continuously for 51 years. So pat yourself on the back. That's it.
Right. Anybody have any questions for Al? I don't know if, does anybody taken the time to look at the history that he's prepared and looked at? And I'm sure that's a living document. We'll have to continuously update, but
I got one quick question for Al. Al was reading your report and they're talking about the multi-use paths. Is there any discussion of having any part of those like gravel or a mixed surface? Or are they all got to be paved?
That's a good question. To the best of my understanding, the criteria, and actually Mark might be in a better position to answer this than I am, is that they got to be a certain width.
We lost you, Al.
And they are, they're, to the best of my knowledge, asphalt. Now, that could be another way, I guess. Well, I guess no. Largely, they are in a urban setting, either a metropolitan city or an urban setting. So I guess they're looking mostly for paved. But
I think so.
Anything on that?
I think they're all going to be paved for accessibility purposes too, Charlie.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there were some times where if we thought, something mixed use or, gravel, like if you go up and ride the American Tobacco Trail in, in Raleigh and Cary, I mean, there's 8 miles of it is like a hard packed gravel.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. And so anyway, I just wonder if Wilmington has considered that sometimes when they're wondering how to make some of these things flow and connect, that you might be missing an opportunity, of using a hard packed gravel somewhere instead of trying to get a piece of pavement put down.
Yeah, now that's a good question because I was kind of knocked out by the price tag on them up. Because it's almost like they got to build it. Like it's going to be carrying large trucks or something like that. And let me ask that question of DOT.
Okay, great, thanks.
I'll put that down right now.
Yeah, I was gonna just, not to whinge on your Eileen or Al, but keep your ear open to what you hear about what's gonna go on with the old Cape Fear Memorial Bridge, because I don't think that's going away anytime soon, even if a new bridge is built. And there's actually an organization that's trying to get it designated as a historical monument or a feature. And there's a real big opportunity for them to refurbish it and have a bike path across it. So, and walking lanes, stuff like that.
Did you see the one part too on the summary that I sent though, is that the replacement bridge absolutely is going to have a bike path that's wider than the one on Surf City and connect to the Riverwalk that's being built in Belleville.
Yeah, that's nice. I did see that. No,
yeah. Chad said one of his regrets is that he did a smaller separated path plus bike lanes on the road because he realizes in retrospect everybody wants to use the wider path. So he wants to do it like the one in Charleston where there's a 12-foot wide and people can share it. And then one of the other women in the meeting came back and said, by the way, we're connecting with Belleville's Riverwalk. Make sure you tell them that.
That
That's
would be
great.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll keep our eye on the old bridge too, Mark. Thanks for that heads up.
Yeah. You think about that thing, that thing's on every marquee marketing material that the city of Wilmington has. And there is an organization out there, I just read about it last week, that's trying to get it designated as a historical feature.
Be interesting to see how much it's going to cost for them to keep the lift operating though, because you have to, for vessels, have the elevator.
Although there's only one vessel that travels up and down there right now that is required to have it open, and I think they said that the thing is whatever ship goes up there it's about to become obsolete. But no, you're right.
Oh.
It's a interesting issue, but
Mhm.
yeah. Does anybody have anything for Al and Eileen anymore? Appreciate everything you're doing. Your updates are always fascinating to me. Okay, Mr. Culpepper, I love that chart.
Mhm.
Any
thoughts,
questions?
Tom?
I'm done.
I love the chart, that Bill.
All right. So I think that gets us to, is that Gloria? So I'm Gloria today, or Sandy on membership. I'm sorry.
Real quick, I sent an email out. We're at 395 club members, up 8% since roughly last year. And everybody wants to be on Slack. So almost everyone that is a member is on Slack, and they're up 29%. If anything, I get questions from people, how can I get on Slack? And I say, well, join, be a member.
Yep. I bet Phil and I get asked that on every ride we do. How do you get on Slack? And we're like, are you a member?
So things are good.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right. So did everybody get a copy of Gloria's recap of the spring social?
Mhm.
I won't read through it. I just would say I know she's going to reach out, but she's real interested if everybody liked the format and how it was set up and the way it worked. And I know I got a lot of positive feedback. And I think what she means is like having a potluck versus having a food truck. And I kind of got the sense that everybody was really happy with the way things went yesterday. I know I really enjoyed it. And just reading through her notes, it looks like she got some really good takeaways for how to improve things next time. And it looks like our next outing will be November 5th. And looks like she's aiming to get us in the same spot. So if you have any thoughts or comments, please let her know. Bill, I saw your note about you figured out a way to be able to give some feedback on what to bring on through our site. That's good.
Yes, that's all part of putting it. You can ask questions on the events when people register, and actually one of the default questions is, what side dish are you bringing? So it's and then you can do a report and see who's bringing what.
Yeah. And so I have the sodas and I've got some water, but I'm not going to save the water because I don't think water in a plastic bottle till Tour de Blueberry is a good thing. So whatever I drink, I'll replace and bring it with me. And there's probably, it looked to me like there's about a 5 half cases of soda that I'll just bring to the Tour de Blueberry, and Beth can use it however she wants. It's a mixture of Coke, Pepsi, Sprite, whatever, but I've got it all in my garage and I'll bring it when I come to Tour de Blueberry. Anyway, I thought she did a great job with it. It was a lot to pull together, and she got it done. So if you have any feedback for her, I'd suggest, please just email her your thoughts. So I think that gets us to Miss Kitty on the education and training.
Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, the brief, I don't want it to take a lot of time because we're already going, been going for a while, is, how to do some brainstorming. How do we get club members involved with the things that are scheduled by education? Putting it on the calendar. I got that worked out with Tyler. To get the information to him. And, it's been a process here these last few months, but I think we finally have that process down. But, like upcoming in a couple of weeks is the ride leader training, where we talked about at the last meeting with the board members here. And, no one has reached out with questions. No one has signed up. We're going to feed you pizza, but we've got to have a minimum of 5. And we really need, if we don't get it this week, we have to cancel it because we've got it reserved at a restaurant. So I guess the larger question is for bike rodeos, for education, safety 101, ride leader training, anything like that. How do we get involvement from 395 club members?
So I do have some thoughts on it. It'll take a little bit of work. And I know, Eileen, you mentioned you had thoughts on this too, but from my simple window of the ride calendar, that's the first touch anybody would have gain knowledge of what we have coming up. So I think whatever we put on the ride calendar for those has to be inspiring, and it has to tell people what it is, what it's about. If we need volunteers, it should go on there. So, I think we could, and once we set one of them up, Kitty, let's say it's Ride 101 or Ride Leader 101. Once we get a format set up, the next time we say, hey, we want to do it on this date, we just copy it and you get the same thing. And if you want to adjust language, but it's really easy once we get a template set up for it. And the same for the training. So like when I think and I apologize because emails are so impersonal, but I knew about the 101, but I'm like, well, I've already done it. And then I'm thinking, well, geez, 6 o'clock on a Monday, I'm not going to, and it was like a half a day deal. I mean, you taught me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. You and Tammy did, and I really enjoyed it, but I'm thinking, well, okay, I've done it. Does it apply to me? And then I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to stay there till 10 o'clock at night on a Monday to get 4 hours of the training.
Well, but Monday night is the ride leaders, and that's basically dinner, and you get us, we do a presentation. We've got a PowerPoint that's 40 minutes, maybe max.
Mm-hmm. So
the other one is
other than you
on a
telling
Sunday.
me that, right now, I would never have known.
Yeah, because okay. Well, and that's a good point. But the club has sponsored ride leader training in the past. Tammy did it. And it was the same thing. It was like pulling teeth to try to get people to sign up. And even with providing pizza for dinner, is most of the people didn't think it was necessary or didn't think they needed to do it. So, I mean, absolutely, I can use assistance in expanding the descriptions of what everything is. But I mean, I think the members know what a bike rodeo is. We've talked about that.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm a member and I don't have a clue. So there might be
Kitty,
people on here that do, but
Kitty, as far as the ride leaders go, I spoke with Richard, Kevin, Wayne and Paul about that. That's your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday ride leaders.
Okay.
If we say ride leaders, what does that encompass? That encompasses the people that say they're ride leaders, and those are Mark and I are the ride leaders. That's 6 of us.
Mhm.
So to say there's more than that, I don't think there is more than that. Yeah, Charlie, Charlie, you lead the ride on the gravel. That's right.
Well, or perhaps somebody that's interested in becoming a ride leader, and that could be included also.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But just, I just want to make sure I understand, because you both of you talked to me when we did the training. It's been a couple of years ago, right? And I think Tammy was interested in doing kind of a refresher for people that have already been through the leader training, which that was 4 or 5 hours, wasn't it? On a
No, that wasn't ride leaders. That was bike
was
safety
101.
101.
bike safety 101. Yeah. So
And that's
for
open
me, I
to, that's open
didn't
to everyone.
connect the difference. So, if it's a refresher class for people that have had 101, that probably would have triggered, oh, wait a second, I've done the one I need to go get refreshed. But anyway, I think we can help. We just have to get more, figure out in the calendar who we're targeting and get it cleaned up so that when people click on it, they're like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Or for people that want to become ride leaders, they think, oh yeah, I should do this because I am kind of interested in being a ride leader. But I think with the training, the other training sessions and this ride leader stuff, I think literally all we knew is what it was called, where it was, and to contact you. But I think we can put a lot more in. Like if you go look at a regular calendar entry for a ride, we try to put enough information in there so if somebody does show up for a ride, they know what they're getting themselves into. But I think we could help do that. In fact,
Kitty, I've just jogged down a couple more. Sandy Morrison he has expressed willingness to be a ride leader, and Kevin Stevens is our Thursday Oak Island ride leader. So there's a couple more there. But as far as anybody else, of course, I ride all the club rides, and if there's a club ride, I'm on it, except for Charlie's gravel rides. I don't have a gravel bike, and I would say there's zero interest in anybody becoming a ride leader. So the big question is how do you move that bar to say, if you just say, hey, who wants to be a ride leader? Send me an email. I do not think I will get any emails. Send it out to all 400 members. I don't think there'll be any returns. That's my opinion from what because I have brought it up. I have tried to find alternate ride leaders. So when somebody's not there for a ride, we have an alternate ride. That would be a good place to start. Just an alternate. You won't be the ride leader, just be an alternate. And there's no interest in that. So we're blessed to have the people that will do what they do.
Yeah. And that's the same thing we came up against, Phil, when we did the ride leader training in McAllister's again a million years ago. And we were doing it under the auspices of the same people who are leading rides. I used to lead, I don't even know how many rides. And the same people, just like you all now, it was just a generation ago of constant. And we were trying to get new people to be ride leaders. And we gained maybe a half a ride leader. It's just, that's, of all the hills that we're trying to climb right here, to me, that's the steepest and the least rewarding. I think that getting people to understand bike rodeos better, Kitty, is probably a bigger priority for the Safety and Education Committee to not get burned out, and to get members of Cape Fear Cyclists to understand what it is we're looking for. And having led a volunteer organization, the one thing I can tell you is that if you put out a notice that says, we need volunteers, nobody's going to call you. But if you say, we need volunteers in the gift shop who can do a 4-hour shift once a week, meet the public, and be the face of the hospital, boom, my phone's ringing. So if you need volunteers for a bike rodeo, I think the first thing we need to do is you and Tammy create a bike rodeo volunteer service description and help people to understand that if you volunteer for the bike rodeo, You might be asked to help a child learn how to wear a helmet safely. You might be asked to do the ABC bike check, or you might be on the course helping a child understand how to come to a full stop. So you see, and again, half the people on this call, if you've not been to a bike rodeo, you don't know what we need. So I think that if we can come up with a really good description of what we need and recruit volunteers, you know, so many new people are moving to this area that were involved in their old communities, and we just haven't been able to tap into them. But until we can describe what we need, the chances of us getting help is kind of slim. You know, I posted pictures of the traffic garden on Facebook and kind of described it, and I don't think we got any takers from that either. So I think we've got to step back and look at how we're asking, how we're describing, how we're approaching. And an email to club members, you're right, Mark, a thorough description on the club calendar is the anchor. But until we email club members with what we're talking about, that one-on-one communication, I think, might be what we need to the almost 400 people that are members. Because there might be people that are members that don't come to any rides anymore, but they love children. They used to be teachers or something. And they might want to come hang out with a bunch of 7-year-olds learning how to come to a full stop. Hard on your back.
Yeah.
I would hate to be the one that
the ride leader training, Katie, now that I kind of understand a little bit more about what it is, because I think both you and Tammy talked to me about it, but it was like 2 years ago. So I'm getting older. I don't remember everything, but I would suggest that I don't know if did it get rescheduled for another date?
No.
So I would suggest if there's a time that works for Tammy does the training, or do you do the training, both of you?
Both of us.
If there's a time that works for you, I would be more inclined to not even put it on the calendar and call up the ride leaders. I mean, I would call the ride leaders and say, we need you to come to this. It's important for you to do it as a ride leader. This is when we think we're going to have it. And because like Phil said, there's not a lot of them, but I mean, I would go to it because I want to be up to speed on the latest and get refreshed. And I know, Phil, I think you said the same thing. And then it's probably more of an issue of, do I have a conflict, with the scheduled time? But I think the safety 101, Tammy talked to me about this too, and I pretty much would agree with her that ought to be a prerequisite for anybody that says they're a ride leader. But there's a little bit of leverage going on here that might be able to help us encourage some of the current ride leaders. Is the club, if you call the club, agreed to purchase jerseys for people that are going to be ride leaders that say ride leader on them, gratis. And I would think that we could leverage that to come to the ride leader training and promote the things that you're talking about. There's pizza and stuff like that. And I think it gives us some leverage to encourage people to come and do it, because I do think it's important. I just think we're confused about what it was about.
I advertised it as the ride leader dinner with a small presentation on the other end, as being an honor. You're being honored by our club for your participation as ride leader. It's a ride leader dinner with a presentation about safety.
Oh, I like that, Phil. I like that.
And I got a lot of uh-huhs. So, but I did tell him I was going to come back with the hard dates and times, and I did tell him the 5th, and just as we get closer, then maybe a email to all the members would be a possibility to turn up another interested person for ride leader. I'm not saying that's not, but I would say it would come from the people that ride on the rides first. And so far, I don't see a lot of interest in those people that are on the rides, at 12 or 15 that go on the Tuesday ride. They like it the way it is, status quo. That's the status quo. They like it like it is with somebody else doing it.
Well, we're going to get into vacation time and busy with travel and things for the summer, and with new jerseys that are being ordered. And Mark, if I hear you correctly, in these new jerseys, there are going to be ride leader jerseys that are ordered as part of the new kits, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then maybe
Awesome.
what Tammy and I can do is cancel the one on, that's coming up in 2 weeks. And we'll look to doing it in the fall when we've got jerseys. And Phil, I like the way you're thinking that we're honoring ride leaders. And yes, there will be a presentation because, someone might not be up to date on what all of the laws of North Carolina are. And so, we want to provide an update, whatever. And there will also be a gift. And the gift is going to be the jersey that identifies them to honor them as a ride leader, as kind of that, that carrot. So, I mean, what does everybody think about that? Is that we put that off until we've got the jerseys in hand, and then we can look at scheduling a date. We can get the verbiage up on the website, but Phil, I'll also use you as a conduit to the ride leaders that we could maybe put out a joint.
I like these
Yeah.
being moved. I think it's a great idea. I just happen to be out of town that week. So actually, Jersey or not, I was planning on coming. I'm out of town that week. So I don't, I'm actually glad that it's going to move just schedule wise, and hopefully I'll be in town, because I think it's a wonderful idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
you know-
if you guys pick a date in the fall, it'd give us time to start pressuring the ride leaders we have to attend.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think
Tyler's-
I hate to use the word we have to guilt them in, but I think the jerseys have been ordered and are on their way. I think they'll be here in June. But either way, I would hope that a ride leader that was earned a free jersey from us would understand us asking them to attend the session. And I know I will. I know for sure I will, as long as I don't have some crazy out of town business thing I got to do, which seems to be the norm these days. But
And,
I
it's
think
such a small,
we can help for sure.
Okay.
it's such a small group. You can also do a doodle poll and just see when the majority are available.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
good.
just do a scheduling poll, and then if you can get, because we're talking 10 people, 8 people,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
and Phil, maybe the 2 or 3 that had indicated that they might be interested, they'll see these fancy new jerseys and get jealous, and maybe they'll want to come to the training.
Mhm.
But we're hoping.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great. That one-on-one communication sounds wonderful.
Yeah, so Kitty, if you do want to pick some dates, and we do the doodle poll, which I've done those, but I have no idea how you do them.
It's so easy. They are
yeah.
the easiest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
You just,
So what I
you
probably would
send
do
it
is
out.
maybe Phil, we can get together, and I think Tyler's going to give me the names of all the ride leaders, but I don't have a problem sending a message to all of the people we know to be ride leaders and say, Kitty's, it's important as a ride leader to participate in this event, and Kitty's going to send out a doodle thing for dates, and try to put some pressure on up front before Kitty sends something and they're like wondering what the heck that is. But I don't have a problem doing that at all.
Okay, good.
That's
Good.
great.
Yeah, that's good feedback. And we do have a couple upcoming bike rodeos. So, maybe we can augment what's on the website to try to get that going. There's one June 10th. I'll be out of town. Tammy and Jim are coordinating that one. And that's in Brunswick County. And then it looks like we're going to do one July 3rd, which timing's not great, but that's with Parks and Recreation. So that would be a first with them. So I really want that one to happen. And I just got the email on that, so I'll get that information on the website also to Tyler so he can put that up. And then we do have 2 sessions with, again, with Wilmington Fire Department Junior Fire Academy. But this year, Tammy and I are just doing a presentation ourselves. They only give us about an hour and a half. So we're not going to do any bike riding this year. So we don't need any volunteers for that. But I think I want it on the calendar just to show people that we, the education committee is out there doing the same thing with the fire department, junior fire academy.
Okay.
But
Well,
that's,
Kitty, I gotta tell you, for me, I'm just ecstatic to see these things getting on the calendar, because I think it's an important part of who this club is and the training. And I know it's probably a lot of work. And then you got people like me going, what the heck is that? We got to, but I think, like I said, for like these junior academy things and all of that, I think once we get a template set up, I mean, all it is, hey, Tyler, I want to set this up, and it's bam. I mean, it's really fast. And but the key is just to try to get the message that's on the calendar as attractive as we can and as descriptive as we can. And once we get it set, it's real easy to change it, move it, add it to another date, anything.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
All right, Kitty, do you have anything else?
no. Mm-mm.
So if you just drop me a note when you have some dates, because what I don't want to do is send out an email and then have it be like a month before we ask for dates. So I'd like to do it really close to when you're ready to ask, and then
Okay,
just drop me a note and I'll send a message out to all the people I know that are ride leaders for us.
okay. All right,
Okay.
that sounds great. Yeah, thank you.
Charlie.
Can I interrupt just one quick second?
Mhm.
Can I interrupt? I'm gonna have to sign off. I got deals to go take care of, okay?
All right.
So, I
Okay.
will see you guys at the next meeting.
Thank you, Bill.
Take care, Bill.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good to see you.
Yeah, not too much for me. Last quarter had too many competing priorities this past quarter and that required my attention. But same thing is always still trying to get more rides scheduled, trying to come up with some new ways. I also trying to find some new routes, some new places to go gravel ride, because it can be tough to get to Holly Shelter, whether you go to the Rocky Point side or the Hampstead side, depending on where you live. Same thing like Phil talked about, trying to find, just a possible backup, fill in, ride leader in the event that, have a scheduling conflict. So yeah, just still trying to push forward and work on those things and all, but nothing much to report from the past quarter. But next quarter, hopefully have some things to report to everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have questions for Charlie? Okay, so Tyler couldn't get on the call today. He didn't really have any messages about the ride coordinator, and Phil and myself are continuing to work with him on updating the calendar, and he's getting pretty darn good at it. So I guess all I'd say is if there are rides that you don't see on the calendar that you'd like to see on the calendar, let him know. And then Kitty, I'll talk to him about, I don't know if we can maybe get with you and just figure out how to get a few more details, and we'll figure out how to spruce up some of those invites.
Yes.
Al, is there anything you want to say about the historian piece?
I already did. Yeah, the club's been going for 51 years, so we must be doing something right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And then we've pretty much talked about the apparel piece. The only thing I'll add to it is I think Tyler's view is this jersey that's coming out this year is like a one-time thing. And he actually mentioned last night that he's wanted to know what I thought about if for 2024, if they have a open competition to design a 2024 jersey. So I think you might hear something about that from him on the next board meeting. And we can noodle on it and figure out if that's a good idea or not. Sounds interesting to me. So
Is there an artistic rendering of the current jersey that's for sale?
geez, I don't know. Phil, do you know that?
Yeah. There's he sent it out in an email.
Okay,
that
so I'll
showed-
reach Okay, I'll reach out to Tyler and try to get more information, a picture of what it looks like, the deadline for ordering, and a link to make the orders. Because the very first time he sent me information, it was just, order your new jerseys, but I didn't get a rendering. And that
Oh,
usually really helps.
Mhm.
So
yeah.
if I can email him, he's not like away, is he? Like
He's
completely out-
so he teaches sailing. So
Okay.
I know he's offshore somewhere for a couple days with a group.
Okay,
I think he was leaving in the next few days for some kind of a bike trip for that was going to take him for about a week. I'm not sure the exact date was.
Well, if anybody, I'll look for an old email from him. If I can't find a rendering, Phil, I may reach out to you and see if you can
Sure.
find one in your emails, because that makes a huge difference. So
Yeah.
the rendering and the link for how to order.
Well, I know that he was personally doing the ordering and paying for all of them and was looking to have personal reimbursement before he placed the order. And he was going to pay for the whole smear. And
So this is very different from what we've done in the past.
I know. And, that's the way that's the way he explained it to me. So if you want a jersey, you write him a personal check. And then once he gets the checks for you, he'll include you in the order with your sizing and all that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very different. Okay,
Or
I
he
need to
does
That's the
he
way
does-
it is.
he
So you're
does
not
Venmo
going
also.
individually to the vendor. And maybe got a better pricing that way. I don't know.
Yeah, you can I did Venmo with him.
Okay.
Or maybe I should say my wife does, because I don't do Venmo.
All right. If I can't figure it out, and if I can't reach Tyler, Mark and Phil, I'll reach out to you too and see if you can help me.
And I understand there were some jerseys that were going to be given away as honorariums. And if that's done, then there'd be a request for reimbursement through the club for that.
No idea.
That's what he told me last night anyway.
Mhm.
Okay.
Under ride leader incentive.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool.
Good idea.
All right. Hopefully I can figure it out.
I think he's got it set up, Eileen. It's closing out fast. It's a quick thing. So whether
Yeah,
we
I
would
heard
be
it's
able
closing out
to,
in 2 weeks. So, okay.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. That's why I'll see what I can figure out. And if I can't figure out something by tomorrow, I'll reach out to you guys and maybe you can help me. And he may not need promotion. It sounds like if he's already sold 50, your guys are in good shape. But
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I think we're at the end. I think I feel like it was a great discussions, and we shaved 15 minutes off the last go around, and I know there'll be pressure to shave another 15 off. So, but I feel like we had some really good discussions here today.
Beth and Tyler weren't here, so that would just.
Yeah. So anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
no, I just found Tyler's email. I'm set.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, well,
Great meeting.
yeah. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for getting on this call and for all your contributions. I mean, that's what makes us who we are, is the thought and the contributions and figuring out how to keep rolling ahead. And there's a lot of exciting stuff everybody's working on. So, man, keep it up. And if you need anything, just reach out. And I might be in Texas, I might be in Wilmington, but I'll be available somewhere. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
All right. Good night, everybody. See you at Tour de Blueberry. Take care.
Yeah.
Night.